It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Lieutenant Governor John Husted, whose Office of Workforce Transformation aims to identify the needs of Ohio businesses and align worker skills with those needs to close the skills gap and get more people into rewarding careers. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Husted.
Well, good morning. This is a great group. I was just really thrilled to see all of the institutions of higher learning who were represented today. It's Governor DeWine and I appreciate the work that you do, and we always appreciate the men and women of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the folks here at the museum. I was saying to some of the folks who are not from the Dayton area, if you don't have anything to do for a couple hours after this, you ought to really take a walk around. It's a really special place. Now, I'm going to dig right into this because I know we have a packed agenda. And look, this kind of came out of a conversation and some of the news that Colonel Sherman actually. I will quote him. He said that there are 15,000 men and women at the base who are in the autumn or winter of their careers and could be eligible for retirement within 5 years. There's also a projection of more than 5,000 or approximately 5,000 people who will need to be hired new for the various initiatives that are taking place at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So in total, if you think about it, that is approximately 20,000 people, 20,000 new jobs to somebody that could be available in the area within the next 5 to 10 years. And I remember, as somebody who spends a lot of time in economic development a few years ago, you saw the whole country go bananas over the idea that Amazon could move 20,000 jobs to their community, maybe move 20,000 jobs to their community. Well, think about this. There's going to be 20,000 job openings here in a matter of time. It's the same thing. These are real jobs that support very important missions to support our nation and our community. But it's more than just Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Whether you're in healthcare, you're in manufacturing, you're going to need talent. And these issues do come up from time to time because when you have sustained low unemployment, and we've had this at various times in our history, where there is a need to hire people because of that sustained low unemployment. But I believe that this time's different for two reasons. First, technology. There are new kinds of jobs coming along faster than at any time in I believe, our nation's history. Whether you talk about cloud-based jobs, cyber jobs, digital, you name it, technology is changing the nature of work. It changes the nature of the occupations we have and the types of skills that are required. It's also a demographic one, in the sense that in America, by 2030, we will have more people over the age of 65 than under the age of 18 for the first time in our nation's history. In Ohio alone, in 2025, the demographic of 64 to 69 will have more people in it than the demographic of 24 to 29. And I know that the institutions who are represented here as in terms of our institutions of higher learning, you are all struggling with demographic challenges. And so this time is different. And the most critical part of being able to solve this problem is building closer ties between educators and the job creators. Those partnerships are critical. Particularly when you take the cost of an education, the fact that there are many jobs available out there, and that we have a large sector of our population who is unprepared for the higher educational opportunities that they will need to take advantage of the growth in the economy. And so building partnerships between the certifications that are needed, the programs that you need to stand up, and the work-based learning opportunities, apprenticeships, internships, et cetera. I hope when you leave here today that you will be very intentional about creating those partnerships for work-based learning opportunities, even at the high school level. A 17-year-old is just as capable of being good at cybersecurity or coding as a 37-year-old, maybe even more in some cases, right? We can reach these students earlier. We can give them the opportunities that they need, and we can make them build those partnerships with employers so that they will stay and work in Ohio. A couple of the things that the governor and I wanted to highlight today that the state is doing that you can take advantage of. One is the Innovative Workforce Partnership, Investment Partnership, the IWIP program, which essentially we've created incentives at the high school level for to help graduate more students with industry-recognized credentials that are in demand. There's $9 million that have been set aside to stand up these programs in our high schools and our career centers. There's incentives of up to $1,250 per student for every additional student you graduate in those areas. We need to develop more high school graduates who are job and career ready, and we're putting resources into doing that. The Choose Ohio First Scholarship, which many of the universities and colleges represented today are involved in. We've put $20 million into improving the number of, increasing the number of computer science graduates, and Jobs Ohio is also on the verge of making more investments in these areas. The industry sector partnerships, manufacturers are taking advantage of this, where we provide up to $100,000, $250,000 to help areas, small businesses, identify needs that they all collectively have, and then to develop programs and partnerships with their local educational providers. I will mention Tech Cred. This is an initiative that we started to help upskill our existing workforce, because when you have demographic problems and you have technological change, as I said, there was a study by IBM last year, 120 million people globally who will need to upskill within the next 3 years just to keep their present jobs. One of the ones that I like to use as an example of this is a land surveyor. A land surveyor has been around since the beginning of land, okay? They've been around forever. But the nature of those jobs are changing because of drones. Drone technology can allow land surveying to be done efficiently and effectively. But for $1,750 at a local career or community college like Sinclair, you can become a certified drone pilot, taking somebody whose skills were becoming outdated, upskilling them, helping them move into the next phase of their career. At techcred.ohio.gov, we've identified 379 in-demand tech certifications that the state will help employers pay for through your institutions. All it works like this. The employer identifies the employee. They enroll them in the program. Once they're approved, we will pay up to $2,000, reimburse the employer up to $2,000 for the cost of that industry certification. We hope to increase that by 10,000 a year, the number of employees in our state that we upskill. And those are just some of the things that we're doing, because I've learned this in life, as you all have too, that if you want to change behavior, align your resources behind that change. And we are going to pay for things that are demanded in the economy, and we are going to stop paying for things that are not demanded in the economy. And this is critically important to solving this problem. We can't just let it to chance. We have to be intentional about knowing exactly what employers need, what the skills are, designing the programs that are necessary, and then recruiting and moving the students into those programs. And as I mentioned, I know that there are a lot of institutions here. I want to take a little focus on the Dayton area for a moment. The opportunity here for the institutions in the community in this region are dramatic. It is an opportunity when you look at 20,000 jobs that are going to be created just here around the base in the next generation. I mean, what a great time to be a high school freshman, really. Think about it. Get all of these opportunities, all of these people who want your skills. You can develop them over the course of the next 3 or 4 years and leave high school career ready. But I hope that Wright State University will use this as an opportunity to become the Tech and Talent Academy for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I read in the newspaper the other day about enrollment issues. What a great way to sell your institution, to say, if you come here and you look at this major, here are the opportunities at the end. It's, we're going to give you work-based opportunities. You got an opportunity right here at the end of this pipeline. Here's how we go do it. The University of Dayton has a tremendous opportunity to build an innovation district around what they already have there on campus and the property that's developed around there, just by aligning the curriculum, recruiting the students, and fulfilling the need of the base and those who support the base. Sinclair Community College, great award recently for being #1 in the nation for the work that you do. Sinclair and the community college, Clark State and others in the region have the opportunity to be the pipeline for so many students. And our career centers. I know the Greene County Career Center, for example, has an aviation program and an aviation focus that they're trying to build to support what's happening here around the base. These are great opportunities for our institutions. The need is everything from world-class PhDs to people with entry-level certifications. It's all across the board. We need cyber specialists, we need electricians. We need them all. And making sure that we're able to recruit the students and get them focused is critical to this success. For the other institutions around the state that are here, there is something that, whether you're in Canton or Cincinnati or Cleveland or Toledo, there's an opportunity for the students that you have there to be connected to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And I promise you that in every one of your communities, there's a business, a private sector business whose primary or a big section of what they do is contingent upon what happens at this base. Every part of the state is benefited by this economy that we have in the Dayton region, thanks to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And we have to align our resources. We have to be intentional about getting the private sector and the public sector well aligned to serve the needs of what's happening here and what's happening in our state. Because this is true. The states that do this best will be the ones that prosper. They'll be the places that people want to go. They'll be the places that people want to stay. They will have a workforce that's aligned with the needs of their job creators. And the communities that get this right, they'll be the ones that succeed because every economy is regional. The needs in Cleveland, the needs in Cincinnati, the needs in Toledo, the needs in Dayton are all a little bit different. And we have to have our local providers, from our high schools to our community colleges, to our universities, aligned with those needs. And obviously, the employers and the people that do this right will also benefit, because the employers that are focused on creating partnerships with educational institutions so that those educational institutions are sending you the talent that you need by engaging early on so there's work-based experiences, then you will succeed, both as educational institutions and employers, and obviously reaching those young people. Reaching those young people so that they know the opportunity that's available. This will require cultural change in many cases. Let's not forget that Governor DeWine and I believe that every single child is capable of growing up and being great and living their version of the American dream, and that no matter where you start, you can still climb that mountain and get to wherever you want to be. But we have to be focused at the high school or at the elementary school level, junior high and high school, at helping those children see that pathway and giving them the support they need. And if we do that, we'll all prosper. It's a very patriotic thing to do, General, to care about every single American, to give them an educational opportunity so that they can live the American dream, and to serve great institutions like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Thank you very much.